So were you entertained or what tonight? How good was that? That's probably the best show we've ever done, I think.
Frank, have you ever seen them quite like that?
No. I mean, I didn't think it would go the distance. I thought that obviously the favourite was Joe, and I suppose most people felt that's the same way. But I mean, you know, it takes two gladiators to create a fight like that, and both of them you got to take your hat off to them. And for me, I just thought it was the last two rounds which decided in Derek's favour. It was a very close fight. I think it flowed backwards and forwards, but amazing. I mean, you look at their ages. You look at I don't know how Derek does it, to be quite honest. I don't know if Joe does it or him. I mean, they did not miss each other at times. I mean, every punch they was throwing was connected.
Frank, before the knockdown, how did you score in the fight? What do you think is the next?
I didn't think there was much in it. I really didn't. I thought coming into that knockdown, and I think the knockdown, it's a knockdown 10-8 maybe, because I thought Joe was winning the round, so the knockdown, and the last round he came back strong at the end of the last round, and I thought that was gave him the fight by a couple of rounds.
And what's next for Joyce after this defeat?
I don't know yet. I mean, that's too soon for them. I mean, I've said that I felt that the loser of this fight would have nowhere to go, but I never predicted or thought it would be a fight like this. I thought it would be competitive, but I didn't think it would be like this in a million years.
Fight of the year contender?
Well, I mean, the whole card was every fight on the card was a contender for fight of the year, but that was just something. I mean, I can't think of in recent. I mean, Tyson and Usyk, the class that they are, both winning in that unification match. That was a tremendous heavyweight fight, and this at the level it's at was also, without doubt.
I know he's not always been the easiest person to deal with, Derek, but when he uses a moment like that, and it still comes to mind to thank you for your part and to remember Dean Powell.
I've got to be honest, it's like you're sort of listening, and there are not words for it really, because Dean worked for me for many years, and I mean, anybody, maybe some of you younger guys might know who he was, but he was our matchmaker, and he tragically committed suicide, and he was quite close with Derek and so forth, and so it was a terrible loss. But for him to mention him, I thought was very classy.
Just off topic briefly, what do you think of Dennis McCann's performance tonight?
Well, I think Dennis, I thought that was a great fight. I thought he really boxed. He boxed extremely well against a guy who's got, plenty of ticker. He's got, he comes to fight. He all the way through was coming to fight, and I thought Dennis boxed very maturely. He become of age tonight. He definitely came of age, and that was a fabulous performance. And there's some really big fights to be made now for him. There's another great domestic bust up between him and Liam. Down the road, there's just some really cracking fights that are there to be made.
Is Liam versus Shabazz still what you want to do?
Sorry?
Liam and Shabazz, is that still what you want to do this year?
Well, that's going on first of all. That will go on when they're fit, but that'll probably go on in. I'm probably being a bit presumptuous saying that he wins the fight, and Shabazz had a good win out last time, didn't he? He had a tremendous finish. But boxing's so lively now. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The fights are out there, the excitement. We had a great show last week. I mean, this show tonight was just like was just a fabulous night. If you're boxing fans, it don't get no better than this.
Frank, how good was the word on Moses in Tower? I mean, the sky's the limit for him after that win.
Well, that for me was a fight where I was hoping we'd get some rounds, because I feel he needs to get some rounds under his belt. And you look at Wok. He's been the sort of gatekeeper for the young heavyweights who coming through the ranks. Fraser Clark, Hughie Fury, Dillian White, and all the older ones going back over the years, going back, and none of them stopped him. And they were all, and they were not, certainly Fraser Clark isn't a young heavyweight when he fought him. Moses is 19, he's a teenager. And the way he dealt with it was unbelievable. And funny, Alex Krasik and Usyk both sitting there, they looked, and both of them said at the same time, this is the future of the heavyweight division.
I know he's only young there, do you try and find him round, or do you kind of let him off the leash? Obviously,
look, listen, you've got to get rid of people in the ring. I want to see, I like, at this stage of his career, see him, somebody setting him some problems to solve in the ring. But, he's got a superb jab, he's got unbelievably fast hands, footwork's really good, and more importantly, when he lands those bombs on you, it's lights out. I mean, that was I think that was a bit of a statement from a 19-year-old kid.
How Ryan Gardner got excellent against Archie Sharp tonight as well.
Yeah. I mean, that was a cracker of a fight, wasn't it? I mean, they were just all good fights, and that looked like the first 3 rounds that Archie was going to be on his toes, and he's going to sort of have to try and figure out how he was going to break him down and get to him. But he stayed at his task and done what he had to do, and came through. And he's had when I signed him, young Ryan, I thought he's one of our really, really good quality potential stars, and he started off like that. And I mean, if you've any old footage around, I waxed lyrical about him and how impressed I was. But he had a few problems outside the ring, and he went off the rails a bit. But we stayed with him. If you remember, he weighed in at 2 weigh-ins. He fainted twice. We pulled him off the card, and that was because he was doing the weight at the last minute because he wasn't training properly, and that's very dangerous for him to do that. But then he had a couple of problems, but he's turned his life around. He's married now. He's got a child. He's got another one on the way, and I'm thrilled for him because he's a really good little fighter. Archie sort of had a little period of inactivity for whatever reasons. He's 25-0. He was number 1 in 2 of the organisations as a mandatory challenger, but he's in activity. They dropped him down, I think, to 3 and 4 in respective ratings. But he's this for him is for Ryan is brilliant.
Is it about negotiating Ryan into that kind of world title position?
Oh, we'll do that. I mean, that's a no-brainer for us. I mean, we'll do that. We'll keep him going. I want to do a show down there. You got Ryan. We've got Mark Chamberlain. We've got young Royston, who done well tonight. Stepped up and had his first sort of little bit of a test, and we've got a couple of other youngsters from down there. I think we'll be definitely doing a show down on the South Coast before the end of the year.
Frank, we're seeing a lot of fights in the heavyweight division being made, especially with Turkey and Al-Shaykh's for some boxing. And you spoke about wanting Moses to get rounds in. Is a fight with Jared Anderson something you'd be willing to open for Moses?
He's fighting, isn't he, next week?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's see if he comes through his fight. He's fighting Bacoli.
If he can get a win against Martin Collins, is that something you can
see what happens. Let's see how that goes. It's next week. That's another Riyadh season event, and that's a cracking card. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Frank, how close do you feel Joyce was potentially to stopping Chisoa maybe in the late rounds?
Say it again.
How close do you think Joe was to stopping Chisoa towards the late
I
rounds?
thought it was a couple of times he was. I really do. And I thought it was a couple of times Joe got caught with some really big shots as well. I mean, it seemed like it was a shock for them to miss. I mean, they were throwing, they were catching each other with. I mean, it was unbelievable, the resilience there. But one minute you thought Derek was going, and suddenly he comes back throwing 4 or 5 punch combinations with some good shots. Then it went the other way. It was a very close fight, and I think, as I say, the last 2 rounds, the tide turned for Derek.
Frank, just not to discredit Derek, but what do you feel Joyce could have done better to maybe see through that?
Used his jab more. Yeah. Like you look at that jab he was using against Joe Parker, that wasn't that wasn't. There was a couple of times he was really looking good when he threw the jab, but he weren't throwing it enough.
Is it a case of instruction or do you feel he maybe can't do it?
I'm sure they were telling him to do the right thing, but he's doing it. Sometimes when you see two guys fighting like that, first of all it's their age, and you wonder what they got left in the tank. You know, wonder what it is, and and they just self-defense or defense goes out the window. It's like a Victor McLagan and John Wayne fight. That's before your time, most Jim. Jeff knows.
Anything in the contract with your rematch, Frank?
It's too soon to talk about that. Honestly, I mean that was such a unbelievable fight. And if there were going to be one, that would have to be down the road. I'll tell you that, because those guys are going to need plenty of time to recover after that fight.
Frank, William White was ringside and he was talking to Chisoa's management about a trilogy. Is that something you'd be interested in making?
He's got to get licensed first, doesn't he? If he gets licensed, then we'll talk about it.
Frank, can I ask you about Jermaine's debut? What did you think?
Sorry, who?
Jermaine, Derek's...
I didn't see it. I haven't seen it. I'll look back at it. How did it look?
I didn't even watch it, actually. Do you know the guys watching it?
Poor sod. Anyway, oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, because you started the show early.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
He's got a future?
Couple more questions.
I'd like to have it. I'm sure he has. If he fights like his uncle, then he'll have a future. There's no doubt about it.
Raven Chapman made 50 defence of the title tonight.
She done really well, didn't she?
Is she finally going to get that world title shot next?
Yeah, we'll make that happen without a doubt. I mean, we'll make that. I've got to be honest. I thought that fight could have been stopped because the other girl, she was 10 rounds behind. She never won a round, and it started getting the. And it's a funny thing with women's boxing. You know, it's 2 minutes, and they throw lots of punches in fights. I mean, last week I talked about Chantel talked about how many punches the punch stats, but it is only 2 minutes, and they're throwing more punches than people do in 3 minutes. If some of these women's fights would become 3 minutes, they certainly won't go as long as that.
Is it possible it's going to be an IBF world title rather than WBC world title? Because obviously she's got round rankings.
Yeah, well, it'll be for us. It'll be whatever we feel the best direction. We'll sit down, have a chat with her next week, and make a decision. But she's lovely.
Hi, Frank.
As I told you, she's our queen of Queensbury.
Hello, it's Aisha from My Boxing Hub. So this is his third loss now, Joyce. Does it get harder to build confidence for fighters back after 1, 2, 3 losses? Does it get harder to build their confidence back?
Is it hard for him to come back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, sometimes. But then Derek's lost 13 fights. Do you know what I mean? It's and he's still in there, and he's just won tonight. It's a win. You know, I think a lot of it is. I mean, have I got sort of custard on my face or custard pie on my face? I said 2 years ago you should retire. That's what I said, and then you look at tonight, and he's pulled it out of the bag again. 13 losses in his career, albeit against top quality opposition. But he pulls out a performance like that tonight.
It's obviously still like a massive draw. Everyone loved him tonight. Can you just kind of speak to Derek's legacy for British boxing? Can you speak to his legacy for British boxing in particular?
I was surprised. I mean, it sounds terrible. Like I'm sort of disregarding. I'm not. I'm surprised how much the crowd got behind him. I mean, I've promoted him for many years, and even when he fought against Tyson, the crowd weren't behind him. He's now become I suppose a bit like it's like the folklore of boxing now, isn't he? Derek Chisoa. There people talk about this fight tonight. It was a great fight, and good luck to him. It's a tough business. Our business is tough. It's much tougher for the fighters, and when you're doing it at the age of 40, I mean, it don't get much tougher than that.
Frank, we saw Alexander Usyk here in attendance today, Tyson Fury earlier on in the week confirmed he's sticking with the same team. What can you tell us about in terms of an update for the highly anticipated match between him?
The update is, my friend, that it's on the 21st of September.
When is it going to be confirmed over?
It is confirmed.
We've not seen anything on social media saying that's 100% done.
Of course it's done, we've announced it.
In terms of a press conference, an official press conference booked.
So it's gone out, it's done, yes.
Well, thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you. Cheers. All done. Cheers.